The text message that destroyed my marriage had a yoga emoji in it. I'm Mason Burke, 39 years old, project manager at a construction company in Cedar Falls, Iowa. I fix problems for a living. Broken pipes, faulty wiring, collapsed foundations, you name it, I've seen it. But nothing prepared me for the crack that opened up in my own life when my wife Eliza announced she needed space to find herself. "It's just a month-long retreat, Mason," she said, not looking up from her phone as she packed her designer yoga mats. Dr. Lucas Vance is leading a spiritual awakening program at this amazing eco-lodge. I need to reconnect with my authentic self. Dr. Lucas Vance. Even his name sounded like pretentious bullshit. Eliza had been going to his holistic wellness seminars for 6 months, coming home reeking of eucalyptus oil and spouting garbage about chakras and energy cleansing. My wife, who used to laugh at people who talked to crystals, now had a collection of healing stones arranged on our kitchen counter. "A whole month?" I asked, watching her fold clothes I'd never seen before. Silk scarves, flowing dresses, lingerie that definitely wasn't meant for solo meditation. "What am I supposed to do while you're off finding your authentic self?" She finally looked at me, and for a split second, I saw something that looked like guilt flash across her face. "Maybe you should use the time to think about what you want from this marriage, Mason." We've been drifting apart. That was rich. We'd been drifting apart because she'd been spending every evening at yoga classes and weekend workshops, leaving me to eat dinner alone while she expanded her consciousness with a bunch of middle-aged women in expensive athleisure. The morning she left, Eliza kissed my cheek with the enthusiasm of someone pecking their brother goodbye. "I'll call when I can," she said, dragging her oversized suitcase toward her car. The lodge has limited cell service. It's part of the digital detox experience. I stood in our driveway, watching my wife of 12 years drive away to find herself. The irony wasn't lost on me. I was about to find out exactly who she really was. 3 days into her retreat, I got the call that changed everything. "Mason, you need to sit down." Tara's voice was slurred with wine and fury. Tara Morrison had been Eliza's best friend since college, until they'd had some dramatic falling out 6 months ago. Eliza claimed it was over toxic energy and negative vibrations, but I suspected there was more to it. "What's wrong, Tara?" "Your wife isn't at any retreat, Mason. She's shacked up with Dr. Holistic Dickhead at some luxury resort in Colorado. I have proof." My stomach dropped. What kind of proof? Photos, screenshots of their flight bookings, hotel reservations under fake names. And get this, his wife Claire has no idea where he is either. He told her he was at a medical conference in Denver. I sat down hard on my couch, the same couch where Eliza and I used to watch movies together before she decided Netflix was poisoning her spiritual well-being. "Send me everything," I said. Within minutes, my phone was buzzing with incoming messages. Flight confirmations showing Lucas Vance and Eliza Burke on the same plane to Denver. A selfie of them in his Tesla, a luxury mountain resort visible in the background. Screenshots of text conversations where Eliza giggled about private yoga sessions and how Mason will never suspect anything. The final photo made my hands shake with rage. Eliza and Lucas on a hotel balcony, her arms wrapped around his neck, both of them laughing. She was wearing the silk scarf I'd watched her pack, the one she claimed was for meditation ceremonies. I stared at my phone, reading message after message of my wife discussing her affair with casual cruelty. In one text, she called me clueless and joked about how I'd probably spend the month playing video games and eating frozen dinners. She wasn't wrong about the frozen dinners, but she was wrong about the clueless part. I scrolled through my contacts and found Claire Vance's number. Lucas's wife and I had met at a few social events over the years. She was sharp, no nonsense, and deserved to know what her husband was up to. I typed out a simple message. "Claire, I think we need to talk. You deserve to know what's really happening at that medical conference." I attached the selfie of Lucas and Eliza. Her response came back within minutes. "Holy shit. Can you meet me tomorrow? I have some things to show you too. As I sat in my empty house, surrounded by Eliza's abandoned crystals and meditation cushions, I felt something shift inside me. The hurt was there, burning like acid in my chest, but underneath it was something else, something cold and calculating. My wife thought she was so clever, planning her month-long affair while I sat at home like an idiot. Lucas thought he could steal another man's wife while lying to his own. They both thought they were dealing with a simple blue-collar guy who wouldn't fight back. They were about to learn how wrong they were. I opened my laptop and started researching. The eco-lodge Eliza claimed to be attending didn't exist. The address she'd given me led to a gas station in Nebraska. But the luxury resort in the photos, that was real, and it was expensive. The kind of place that required advance reservations and charged $500 a night. I created a fake social media account and started following both their Instagram stories. Lucas was posting pictures of morning meditation sessions that were clearly taken at the resort's spa. Eliza shared photos of sunrise yoga practice on what was obviously a hotel balcony, not some rustic retreat center. They weren't even trying to hide it well. They were just counting on their spouses being too trusting or too stupid to notice. Big mistake. Claire Vance turned out to be my secret weapon. We met at a coffee shop downtown, both of us looking like we'd been hit by trucks. She slid a manila folder across the table before I'd even ordered my coffee. Lucas has been planning this for months, she said, her voice tight with controlled rage. I found credit card statements showing payments to that resort going back to February. He's been booking rooms, spa treatments, romantic dinner packages, all while telling me we needed to cut back on expenses. I opened the folder and whistled low. Lucas hadn't just been planning a simple affair. He'd been orchestrating an elaborate romantic getaway. Couples massage packages, private dining experiences, even a helicopter tour of the Rocky Mountains. Jesus, Claire. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry, she said, her eyes flashing. Be angry. Because I have a plan, and I need your help. Claire, it turned out, was a forensic accountant. She'd been quietly documenting Lucas's financial infidelity for weeks, building a case that would destroy him in their divorce proceedings. But she wanted more than just half his assets. I want him humiliated, she said. I want everyone in this town to know what kind of man he really is. And your wife? She's been posting about their spiritual journey on social media while mocking you behind your back. They both deserve to be exposed. She showed me screenshots she'd taken from Eliza's private Instagram account. Photos of expensive meals with captions like, "Nourishing my soul with my spiritual guide." Pictures of couples' activities labeled as intensive meditation sessions. And worst of all, a video of Eliza laughing as she read aloud a text I'd sent, asking how her retreat was going. Look at this pathetic message from Mason, she giggled in the video. He actually believes I'm at some spiritual retreat. God, he's so gullible. Lucas's voice could be heard in the background. Poor bastard. He has no idea his wife is getting the best yoga instruction of her life. They both dissolved into laughter. I closed my eyes and counted to 10, feeling my face burn with humiliation and rage. When I opened them, Claire was watching me with understanding. Now you know how I felt when I found Lucas's burner phone, she said. They think we're jokes, Mason. They think they're so much smarter than us. What's your plan? Claire smiled, and it wasn't a nice smile. We're going to give them exactly what they deserve. Public humiliation, financial ruin, and social destruction. But we need to be smart about it. Everything we do has to be legal and documented. Over the next 2 hours, Claire laid out a strategy that was both brilliant and ruthless. We would gather evidence, build our case, and then systematically destroy both their reputations and their finances. The beauty of it was that they were providing most of the evidence themselves through their own social media posts and careless spending. First, we need more documentation, Claire said. I'm going to hire a private investigator to get photos and videos of them together. Legal evidence we can use in court. What can I do? You're going to play the part of the clueless husband for a little longer. Keep texting Eliza like you believe her story. The more lies she tells, the worse she looks when the truth comes out. I nodded, already composing messages in my head. What about Lucas's business? That's where it gets interesting, Claire said, pulling out another folder. Lucas has been using his wellness center as a personal piggy bank. Unreported income, fake business expenses, tax evasion. I've been documenting everything. When this all comes out, the IRS is going to be very interested in his financial records. We shook hands in the parking lot, two betrayed spouses forming an alliance that our cheating partners would never see coming. That evening, I sent Eliza a cheerful text. Hope you're finding your inner peace, honey. The house feels empty without you. Can't wait to hear about all the spiritual growth you're experiencing. Her response came back an hour later. It's amazing, Mason. Dr. Vance is helping me discover parts of myself I never knew existed. This retreat is exactly what I needed. I screenshot the message and sent it to Claire with a note. More evidence for the file. Over the next week, I played my part perfectly. I sent Eliza caring messages, shared updates about my boring life at home, and even ordered flowers to be delivered to the fake retreat address she'd given me. When the florist called to say the address didn't exist, I acted confused and concerned, texting Eliza about the mix-up. Her explanation was creative. Oh, the lodge uses a private postal service for deliveries. It's part of maintaining our spiritual sanctuary away from the material world. Meanwhile, Claire and I were building our case. The private investigator she'd hired sent us photos of Lucas and Eliza hiking together, dining at expensive restaurants, and lounging by the resort pool. In every image, they looked like a couple on their honeymoon, completely absorbed in each other and oblivious to the world around them. The investigator also discovered something interesting. This wasn't Lucas's first rodeo. He'd had affairs with at least 3 other clients over the past 2 years, always using the same luxury resort, always telling his wife he was at medical conferences. He's got a pattern, Claire explained as we reviewed the evidence. Vulnerable married women going through midlife crises, looking for meaning and excitement. He seduces them with spiritual bullshit and expensive getaways, then moves on to the next mark. So, Eliza isn't special? Honey, your wife is just another notch on his meditation mat. That should have made me feel better, but somehow it made everything worse. Eliza hadn't just cheated on me. She'd fallen for the most basic con in the book. The woman I'd married, the one I'd thought was smart and independent, had been completely fooled by a middle-aged Lothario with a fake guru act. But my personal feelings would have to wait. Claire and I had work to do. We spent the following weekend going through Lucas's business records, which Claire had legal access to as his wife. What we found was a goldmine of evidence. Fake business expenses for personal trips, unreported cash payments from clients, and financial records that painted a picture of systematic fraud. This is enough to destroy him, Claire said, organizing documents into neat piles. His business license, his medical credentials, his reputation, it's all going to disappear. What about Eliza? Your wife is about to learn that actions have consequences. Her yoga teaching certification, her social media influence, her standing in the community, all of it depends on her reputation. When people find out what she's really been doing on her spiritual retreat, that reputation is going to evaporate. I looked at the evidence spread across Claire's dining room table. Photos, financial records, text message screenshots, social media posts. It was enough to destroy 2 lives completely. Are you sure about this? I asked. Once we pull this trigger, there's no going back. Claire picked up a photo of Lucas and Eliza kissing on the hotel balcony. Mason, they made their choice when they decided to betray us. Now we get to make ours. She was right. Eliza and Lucas had chosen to lie, cheat, and humiliate their spouses. They'd chosen to flaunt their affair while pretending to be spiritual and enlightened. They'd chosen to treat Claire and me like fools who would never fight back. Time to show them how wrong they were. The first domino fell on a Tuesday morning when Eliza posted an Instagram story that would destroy her life. She was lounging in a luxury spa robe, champagne glass in hand, with the caption, "Day 18 of my spiritual journey. Dr. Vance says I'm making incredible progress in releasing my earthly attachments. Mason would never understand this level of consciousness." I screenshot it and sent it to Claire with a simple message. "It's time." Claire had been busy over the past few days, preparing for what she called the reveal. She'd created anonymous social media accounts, compiled evidence packages, and identified key people in both Lucas's and Eliza's professional networks who needed to know the truth. The first wave hit Lucas's business. Claire sent detailed evidence packages to his medical licensing board, the Better Business Bureau, and the IRS. Photos of him with Eliza, financial records showing his pattern of using business funds for personal affairs, and documentation of his fake conference claims. But the real genius was what she did with his client base. Lucas's wellness center catered to wealthy, middle-aged women seeking spiritual guidance and alternative health treatments. These women paid premium prices for what they believed were legitimate medical and spiritual services. They trusted Lucas with their health, their money, and in some cases, their marriages. Claire created a simple website called The Truth About Doctor. Lucas Vance and populated it with evidence of his affairs, his financial fraud, and his pattern of seducing vulnerable clients. Then she anonymously sent the link to every woman on his client list. The response was immediate and devastating. By noon, Lucas's phone was ringing nonstop with canceled appointments and angry confrontations. By 2 p.m., his staff was fielding calls from reporters who'd gotten wind of the story. By 5 p.m., there was a protest outside his wellness center, led by former clients who'd realized they'd been conned. Meanwhile, I was handling Eliza's destruction with surgical precision. My wife had built a small but profitable side business as a yoga instructor and wellness influencer. She had about 5,000 Instagram followers, taught classes at 3 different studios, and had recently landed a sponsorship deal with a local health food store. Her brand was built on authenticity, spiritual growth, and healthy relationships. I started by creating a simple video compilation. Using Eliza's own Instagram posts from her retreat, I created a split-screen comparison showing her claims versus reality. On one side, her captions about spiritual solitude and meditation in nature. On the other side, photos of her and Lucas at expensive restaurants, spa treatments, and romantic locations. The video was set to peaceful meditation music, which made the contrast even more jarring. I titled it, "The Truth About Eliza Burke's Spiritual Retreat," and uploaded it to YouTube. Then I got creative with the distribution. I sent the video link to every yoga studio where Eliza taught, along with screenshots of her text messages mocking her students as desperate housewives looking for meaning. I forwarded it to her sponsor, including evidence of her using their products in staged photos while actually consuming expensive resort food and alcohol. I shared it with local parenting groups where Eliza had positioned herself as a relationship and wellness expert. But the coup de grace was sending it to Eliza's own Instagram followers. Using a fake account, I posted the video in the comments of her most recent post about finding inner peace through solitude. Within hours, it had been viewed thousands of times and shared across multiple social media platforms. The comments were brutal. "This is disgusting. I trusted you with my marriage problems, and you were cheating on your own husband. I paid you $200 for relationship advice while you were having an affair. I want my money back. Fake guru bitch. Hope your husband takes you for everything." By evening, both Eliza and Lucas were trending on local social media for all the wrong reasons. Number spiritual retreat scam and number fake guru affair were being shared across Cedar Falls and beyond. But I wasn't done yet. I'd saved the best for last, the confrontation. Using the resort's own social media posts, I'd figured out exactly where Lucas and Eliza were staying. The Serenity Mountain Resort posted daily photos of their amenities, and I'd spotted them in the background of several shots. They were in the couple's retreat package, complete with private balcony and mountain views. I booked a flight to Denver. Claire thought I was crazy, but she understood. "Just don't do anything illegal," she warned. "We've got them end to rights already. Don't give them any ammunition to use against you." I promised to keep it legal, but I made no promises about keeping it civilized. The Serenity Mountain Resort was everything their website advertised: luxury accommodations, stunning views, and the kind of romantic atmosphere that made it perfect for affairs. I checked in under my own name and asked for a room with a mountain view. The desk clerk, a chatty young woman named Jessica, was happy to help. "Oh, you'll love it here," she said. "We have several couples on romantic getaways right now. There's this sweet pair in the couples suite. They're here for some kind of spiritual retreat. So romantic." "Really?" I said, feigning interest. "I'm actually here for spiritual reasons too. Maybe we have mutual friends. What do they look like?" Jessica's description confirmed what I already knew. Lucas and Eliza were in the hotel's most expensive suite, living it up on Lucas's business credit card while their spouses dealt with the fallout of their lies. I spent the evening planning my approach. I could confront them directly, but that would just give them a chance to spin the situation or play victim. Instead, I decided to let them destroy themselves. The next morning, I positioned myself in the resort's main restaurant during breakfast service. Lucas and Eliza arrived right on schedule, dressed in matching white robes and looking like they'd just stepped out of a couple's massage session. They were completely oblivious to the storm brewing back home. I watched them order expensive champagne mimosas and feed each other strawberries while discussing their spiritual connection. Eliza was showing Lucas something on her phone, and they were both laughing. That's when I realized what they were looking at: my text messages. I'd sent Eliza a concerned message the night before, asking if she was okay because I'd heard rumors about problems at Dr. Vance's wellness center. I'd played the part of the worried, clueless husband perfectly, and they were laughing at me. Eliza was reading my message out loud in a mocking voice, while Lucas made jokes about my pathetic concern for her well-being. Other guests were starting to stare as their laughter got louder and more obnoxious. That's when I stood up and walked over to their table. "Having fun, honey?" The look on Eliza's face was worth the price of the plane ticket. Pure shock, followed by panic, followed by a desperate attempt to look innocent. "Mason, what are you doing here? How did you find you?" I pulled out my phone and showed her the screen. "Same way 5,000 people back home found you. Through your own Instagram posts." Lucas, to his credit, tried to maintain his composure. "Mason, I think there's been a misunderstanding." "The only misunderstanding," I said, loud enough for the entire restaurant to hear, "is how you thought you could run this con without getting caught." I pulled out a manila envelope and dumped its contents on their breakfast table. Photos of them together, printouts of their text messages, copies of Lucas's fraudulent business expenses, and screenshots of their social media posts. "Your wife Claire says hello, by the way," I told Lucas. "She's been building a case against you for months." "The IRS should be knocking on your door any day now." Lucas went pale. "You can't prove anything." "I don't have to prove anything. You two did that yourselves." I picked up one of the photos showing them kissing on the hotel balcony. This was taken by a licensed private investigator. "It's already been submitted as evidence in Claire's divorce filing." Eliza was crying now, mascara running down her cheeks. "Mason, please let me explain." "Explain what?" "How you spent a month lying to my face while sleeping with another woman's husband. How you mocked me to your friends. How you called me gullible and pathetic." The restaurant had gone completely silent. Other guests were openly staring, some recording with their phones. "You wanted to find your authentic self?" I continued. "Congratulations. The whole world now knows exactly who you really are." I stood up and straightened my jacket. "Oh, and Eliza? I've changed the locks on the house and moved your stuff to your mother's garage. Your lawyer can contact my lawyer about the divorce proceedings." As I walked away, I could hear Eliza sobbing and Lucas trying to calm her down. Other guests were whispering and pointing. The romantic getaway they'd planned so carefully had turned into a public humiliation. But I wasn't done yet. I had one more surprise waiting for them back home. The final phase of my revenge was the most satisfying. Watching Lucas and Eliza's lives completely fall apart in real time. I flew back to Cedar Falls while they were still dealing with the fallout at the resort. Claire had been monitoring the situation from her forensic accountant's perspective, tracking the financial and legal consequences of our coordinated attack. "Lucas's business is finished," she reported when I met her for coffee. "His medical license is under review, the IRS has frozen his accounts, and 3 former clients have filed lawsuits claiming he defrauded them. His wellness center is closed indefinitely." "What about his other affairs?" That's the beautiful part. Once the first story broke, 2 other women came forward with similar experiences. Turns out, Dr. Holistic Dickhead has been running this scam for years. There's going to be a class action lawsuit. I had to admire Claire's thoroughness. She'd turned Lucas from a successful businessman into a defendant in multiple criminal and civil cases in less than 48 hours. "And Eliza," Claire smiled grimly. "Your wife's influencer career is over. She's lost her sponsorship deals, been fired from all 3 yoga studios, and her Instagram account is flooded with angry comments from former clients. Oh, and the local news wants to interview her about wellness industry fraud." The local news angle was something I hadn't expected, but it made perfect sense. Lucas and Eliza's affair had exposed a larger pattern of fraud and deception in the wellness industry. Reporters were treating it as a consumer protection story, investigating how fake gurus and spiritual charlatans took advantage of vulnerable people. Eliza, who'd built her brand on authenticity and spiritual guidance, was now the poster child for wellness industry fraud. But the real satisfaction came from watching their desperate attempts to control the narrative. Lucas tried to claim he was the victim of a vindictive ex-wife's smear campaign. He posted a rambling video on social media claiming that Claire had manipulated evidence and was trying to destroy an innocent man's life. The video backfired spectacularly when viewers noticed he was recording it from what was obviously a luxury hotel room, while claiming he was struggling financially due to his wife's false accusations. Eliza's approach was even worse. She attempted to rebrand her affair as a spiritual awakening and claimed she was the victim of a patriarchal backlash against women seeking personal growth. "I was on a journey of self-discovery," she said in her own social media video. "My husband couldn't handle my spiritual evolution, so he's trying to punish me for finding my authentic self." The comments on that video were savage. "Your authentic self is a cheating liar. Spiritual evolution equals sleeping with your guru. Got it. Lady, you weren't finding yourself. You were finding someone else's husband." The video was shared thousands of times, but not in the way Eliza had hoped. It became a meme, with people using spiritual evolution as a euphemism for adultery. Meanwhile, I was rebuilding my life with a clarity I hadn't felt in years. The divorce proceedings were straightforward. With all the evidence Claire and I had gathered, Eliza's lawyer advised her to accept my terms rather than fight a battle she couldn't win. I kept the house, the savings account, and my dignity. She got her crystals, her yoga mats, and a reputation that would follow her for the rest of her life. But the most satisfying moment came 3 weeks after the confrontation at the resort. I was having lunch at a local diner when I spotted Eliza across the restaurant. She looked terrible, unwashed hair, no makeup, wearing a stained sweatshirt I recognized from our marriage. She was sitting alone, picking at a salad, and scrolling through her phone with the desperate intensity of someone checking to see if their reputation had magically repaired itself overnight. She looked up and saw me watching her. For a moment, our eyes met across the restaurant. I saw shame, regret, and something that might have been an appeal for sympathy. I raised my coffee cup in a mock toast and smiled. She looked away quickly, threw some money on the table, and hurried out of the restaurant without finishing her meal. That evening, I got a text from an unknown number. "Mason, this is Eliza. I know you probably don't want to hear from me, but I need you to know how sorry I am. I made terrible mistakes, and I hurt you in ways that were unforgivable. I don't expect forgiveness, but I wanted you to know that I realize now what I lost. You were a good husband, and I threw it all away for nothing. I stared at the message for a long time, feeling nothing. No anger, no sadness, no satisfaction. Just a kind of empty relief, like the feeling you get when a persistent headache finally goes away. I deleted the message without responding. Claire's divorce was finalized a month later. Lucas, facing multiple lawsuits and criminal charges, had agreed to give her everything in exchange for her cooperation with prosecutors. She got the house, the business assets, and his retirement accounts. "What are you going to do now?" I asked her as we celebrated with drinks at an upscale bar downtown. "I'm thinking about writing a book," she said. "How to spot a con artist, protect your assets, and destroy your cheating spouse legally and completely. I think there might be a market for it." I laughed. "I'd buy a copy. You get the first one free. You were an excellent partner in revenge." As I drove home that night, I passed the building that used to house Lucas's wellness center. The windows were dark, with a "for lease" sign hanging in the door. Someone had spray-painted "Fake Guru" across the front window. 6 months later, I heard through mutual friends that Eliza had moved to Portland and was working as a barista at a coffee shop. Lucas had declared bankruptcy and was facing federal charges for tax evasion and fraud. His medical license had been permanently revoked. Claire had indeed written her book, and it became a bestseller in the self-help category. She'd started a consulting business, helping other betrayed spouses gather evidence and protect their assets during divorce proceedings. As for me, I was doing better than I had in years. The construction company had promoted me to senior project manager. I'd started dating again. Nothing serious, just enjoying the company of honest women who didn't need to find themselves at luxury resorts with other women's husbands. But the real satisfaction wasn't in my personal success. It was in the knowledge that actions have consequences, that lies eventually catch up with liars, and that sometimes the good guys really do win. Eliza had wanted to find her authentic self. In the end, she did. She discovered she was exactly the kind of person who would betray someone who loved her for the temporary thrill of an affair with a con artist. Lucas had built his career on helping people discover their true potential. His true potential, it turned out, was as a federal defendant and a cautionary tale about the dangers of mixing business with pleasure. They'd both gotten exactly what they deserved, the truth about who they really were, delivered with interest and penalties. And me? I'd learned that I was stronger, smarter, and more resourceful than either of them had given me credit for. I was the kind of man who could take the worst betrayal imaginable and turn it into the best thing that ever happened to him. That knowledge was worth more than any marriage built on lies and spiritual bullshit. Some people find themselves through meditation and spiritual retreats. I found myself through revenge, and it was exactly as satisfying as I'd hoped it would be.